A few recent Brie Larson interviews have caught the attention of Marvel fans. People have asked if the cast doesn't get along with Brie, and even as an audience member, it's tough to sit through some of these interviews without cringing. So today I want to talk about what you can learn from these situations and how to prevent yourself from doing specific behavior patterns that can make people dislike you without you intending or even realizing it. And I want to make this clear, there are interviews that I can show you where Brie is extremely likable. You're going to see a few clips of them in this video. I'm addressing these two more recent interviews because they're topical and because they provide great insight into charisma mistakes that I see many people make. The first reading negative intent in an ambiguous situation issue that you want to avoid is reading negative intent in an ambiguous situation. Brie's Wired interview has this repeatedly: go to college, no good Brie Larson workout, like hypothetically would I at some point. Is that like a personal attack or something? Is that a request? Do you think I should? Yeah, I work out a lot. Thanks for asking. We'll come back to this idea of interpreting negative intent, because it is possible that she wasn't doing that at all and was actually aiming for sarcasm in these situations. The problem is that sarcasm requires a tell, you must go over the top. Sarcasm requires a tell, either in your word, choice, body language, or tone, or people will not recognize sarcasm where you might have intended it. Without that, Brie's defensiveness appears sincere, left-handed. Why do you need to know? Can Captain Marvel beat Superman? I can't believe you even have to Google that, duh. I mean, why, to be clear, you can add sarcasm to this type of a joke. For instance. All Brie Plaza gives similar responses in her Wired interview, but people responded much better, and it's because she's communicating that she doesn't mean what she says in this case by narrowing her eyes and changing her tone slightly. Does Aubrey Plaza have a sister? I have 2 sisters. Oh, that's none of your business. That's my family. Since it is so subtle, this level of sarcasm will be missed by many people. And I know that British people are going to hate this recommendation, but at least in America, egg rule of thumb is that when you are being tongue-in-cheek, do not be flat in your delivery, especially if a literal interpretation of what you're saying would make you sound like a jerk, go over the top, and changing your tone, your gestures, or your facial expressions. This helps people distinguish between normal conversation and a character that you are playing for the purpose of joke. This next clip is a great example of Brie playing like she's upset while making it clear that that isn't truly how she feels. She's not really offended. Now watch for the change in her voice tone and her over-the-top gesticulation. That's a problem. Well, I feel inferior, but it's okay. Go for it. Look at it. First of all, I have nothing. But back to the first point. It is possible the Brie might be sincere in her frustration with these questions. Now, obviously, we can't read minds, but there is no absurdity, no smile to release the tension, just flat statements as if she is interpreting what she was being asked as an attack. Is that like a personal attack or something, regardless of what was happening in Brie's head in your own life? You would benefit tremendously from reading positive intent into ambiguous situations like these. In fact, even when people are undeniably being rude to you, reading positive intent can be an excellent way to gain control of the situation. It's part of what made Russell Brand so admirable in his MSNBC interview from several years ago. That entire interaction deserves a breakdown on its own. But just watch here, where the host takes aim at Russell's accent. He could get flustered in response, but instead he assumes positive intent and cracks back a friendly joke. Satellite radio in the car. I can't understand a single joke because you can't understand it. Yes, but I'm telling when I'm driving the car, and he's not. Everyone's laughing in the audience of the radio. I'm like, I have no idea what he's best. You focus on. You're driving your mind. You don't want to be distracted by humor. You might be crashing Pradesh. That's a good thing. I think it's probably for the best jokes like these that interpret positive intent can go a long way to winning the person over who is being rude to you, though it didn't actually work in this particular situation. And if you like a breakdown of this entire interaction, just let us know in the comments. You guys know, due to your overwhelming response, We are working now on a video that covers attachment theory, but moving along with this video to the third point, you should not jump on every opportunity to call praise or attention to yourself. You should not jump on every opportunity to call praise or attention to yourself. Now, in this next clip, Chris Hemsworth is talking up his stunt double and he's putting himself down to do it. This is a nice common move for somebody who is kind of on top, and in this case Hemsworth is clearly athletic and powerful and famous, so it's kind of him to take that trainer and put him above him, even if it means denigrating himself to do it, to just gets injured. He does all the odds, talking back to me, look cool. And then, I've told you, if you're in a situation like this, sitting next to someone who has just done this, it's a great opportunity to further spread the praise in this case. You might want to spread it to other stunt doubles, to the visual effects team, from making the impossible appear real, or just your castmates in general. It is perhaps the worst opportunity to insist on your own specialness, because it contrasts so starkly with Chris's humility, and it also puts him on the defensive since he was putting himself down, and now we're taking that seriously. Unfortunately, that is the route that Brie went. Again, this is another situation where voice tone matters massively. If Brie had said something like, "Wait a second, you guys got stunt doubles. I thought we were supposed to do all that crazy stuff by herself," people probably would have just laughed at that, but without anything over the top, without playing a character, she appears sincere in her attempt to call positive attention to herself, and it doesn't play well. And now defensive, Chris pokes her back, doubting that she does her own stunts, and he mentions Tom Cruise as a contrast. "I did my stunts because I thought that's everyone did no Cruise oven," and again, rather than taking this opportunity to praise Tom Cruise's legendary status in the industry as one of the A-listers who truly does his own stunts and put himself on the line, Brie insists on distinguishing herself further. If you're in a situation like this, the charismatic move, the confident move is to spread the praise. Don't worry so much if you are getting yours. When you give it freely, it comes back to you. Freely. Watch Chris Pratt illustrate this point perfectly. The Avengers cast are asked who the most charming Chris is. Look at how he handles it. Was the most charming dress. It is exactly his own willingness to race somebody else up. That is what makes other people vote for him in droves. This "you should not try to win each moment of banter" all takes us to the fourth point of the video, which is you should not try to win each moment of banter. This makes it harder to feel comfortable joking with you because things always become competitive. Take as an example when Brie says that she's the strongest character in the movie, which though dry could be considered a playful jab at her co-stars. Chris predictably jabs back, and the high-pitched voice is an indication that he's being playful, as are the extreme hit moments, and eventually he gets a laugh from the people around him between the different. It's just a fact. It's not a personal opinion. It's not a reflection on what you can't do, but it is also kind of reflecting my mother is now with that laughs Chris has quote-unquote won this round of banter. But in order to let Brie save face, he adds that her character is really smart. Brie shakes her head no, fidgets with her earring, and then, when Chris says that we should have a fight, she doesn't interpret it positively or playfully. She seems to feel as if she is being laughed at, so rather than saying, "Oh my god, we should totally have a fight in the next Avengers," or making some other joke, she says that she feels like she's been fighting with him all day. And you get the sense that she's being honest. "So we have a FOD if she can, I sit at," is a real representation of her feelings. She probably does feel like these exchanges are fights, and that can be exhausting if you have ever felt like this. Here is a way out. Sometimes it is better to stop fighting. Don't try to win every laughs from the audience. Instead, go with the joke. Even if it feels like you are the butt of that joke, and then amplify it by not taking this kind of insulting joke seriously, you diffused its power and you turn the crowd from laughing at you to laughing with you. Here is Brie doing it in another interview with Craig Ferguson when he teases her name. I get confused all the time. I walk into rooms, people like, "Oh." And here's another example of Chris Pratt taking one on the chin in good spirit. Is Chris Pratt the worst? Chris, it should just be this. This is all much easier if you interpret positive intent. per the first point. So now the last handling a compliment thing that I want to touch on is how to handle a compliment. You should avoid responding to compliments with banter that are put downs in nature, even if you're joking like this "I'm still stronger than you" go. Instead, you can give us in-seers. Thank you emphasize perhaps with sustained eye contact or a touch. I like you bejeweled epaulets, by the way. That's very nice. It's like you're a sort of commander of fabulous alternatively. You can spin it back around to the other person and playfully find a way to give them back an even bigger compliment. Well, I think you should take a lot of it. I'm Qfy. Yeah, and I had respected Joyner, and he said you should too. So trying to have credit. Okay, either way, whatever you do, do not punish people. When they give you compliments, otherwise they will not be so forthcoming. When in doubt, a sincere thank you and a smile, or just a return, a compliment will take you much farther. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you are a fan of the channel, you may want to check out our course Charisma University, in my opinion, in his hands. Down the best thing that I have ever created when it comes to developing your own charisma, covers everything from making a great first impression to magnetic body language, deep confidence, and of course doing it all consistently, which, as you saw in this video, doesn't always come naturally to many of us. So if you want to learn more, go ahead, click the button on screen now or the link in the description. Either way, I hope that you enjoy the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Music.